Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So this one we're doing a bit of a different vibe to it. So what we're going to be doing is a live stream with Mr. Tim Wood. Now for people who don't know Tim Wood he's one of the founders of like the ESkate scene within the UK, one of the founding members of Carve UK, and one of the big influencers of the UK community, supporting it through events, hosting giveaways, doing shows and doing those other little streams on his channel and on the Carve community. So it's a great opportunity to get Tim, do a little bit one-on-one, knowing a bit more about Tim and where he is right now with what he's doing in the scene, where he wants to be in the future, and talking about the history of where he's come from and to get to this point now. So we'll invite him in now. Welcome, Tim. So we're doing something a bit different today. We've got a bit of a stream. So not really a stream, like an interview, because like we've skated together for a while, but I thought it would be a good opportunity to know a bit more about you, where you've come from, where you want to be in the future, and thought it'd be a good way to connect over this holiday season and do something a bit different.
Cool, yeah, for sure. I feel like I haven't actually met many people over the last few months, apart from maybe like 2 group rides, so it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's been very difficult over the season because it's like we did something the other day, which was all right, but it's that I think we had the difficulty with Carve where it's like we want to do stuff, and we could do stuff, but we have to be seen to be acting responsibly. So it's a bit difficult this time. So we only could do what we do. So got a few things we want to talk about. I've got my notes down here, so I'm going to have to keep glancing down. So if I move that high a little bit easier, it'll be a bit easier. So just some of the generic stuff, but also hopefully something a little bit different. So this is an opportunity to know more about you and where you've kind of come from before, because it's not just about skating. It's actually, this is about you. So it's not about just your brand or with Carve, it's more just this is about you. So first we'll get started. Where was you before YouTube? What was your, because everyone has hobbies and interests, what was your hobbies and interests? Anything you don't want to say, feel free, but I'm just curious to see where you go.
Hobbies and interests before, I do like live storytelling, so I'd do a lot on a monthly basis in Camden, do a lot of like true life storytelling. And through that, I was involved in putting on, in fact, I think it was the UK's only true life storytelling festival. So that ran for a week as well. And then, I don't know, it's like I was into like a lot of Keep Fit before ESkate, and then lockdown happened and I kind of got really unfit again. But yeah,
so you're kind of doing like organised, so you've always been involved in some kind of like organised based activities, so your storytelling. So kind of doing stuff like the Carve events and doing your own stuff is something that's quite natural about hosting things and assembling people together as such.
Yeah. I mean, before that, I used to run like some game events as well online, like for groups of people. I used to work in the video game business as well years ago.
So this is the opportunity to figure out stuff where you was before. So
yeah,
what kind of video game stuff was that before then?
I worked for, I started working for the Rank Group originally. Do you remember like laser tag kind of stuff?
Oh really, that kind of
But
stuff?
this was like the most sophisticated laser tag in the world. It's absolutely incredible stuff. You could program your own games and all the kit, and it could do various different stuff.
You're kind of cutting edge stuff at the time.
Yeah, absolutely. It was the world's like best laser tag style at the time. So I was the engineer for that for a while. And then I met a couple of guys in the Rank Group who were like really high up, like directors and stuff like that. So I ended up being a video game engineer for a flagship site for Rank Group. And then I met another guy and he basically took me on to a special project. He was a special projects executive for Rank. So I ended up working in a company called Virtual World, which was in the basement of Chocodero. Big immersion VR stuff where before the days of like high-speed internet, we had ISDN link up with America, and we used to play video game link ups with the States.
Cool. So it's always been involved in some kind of like organised group, getting people together and doing that kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So I've got my next thing. So obviously it's all about people, most of you know you from stuff like your YouTube, more than kind of, I reckon, stuff like with Carve, because obviously with that, we kind of take a step back and we just let things run and we step in what we need to. So yeah. What was that point where you think I want to now do stuff on YouTube? Because obviously like everyone's doing YouTube now, you know what I mean? Especially during the lockdown, it's like 20 more content creators came out for like 3 videos and now they've all gone back down again. So yeah, what made you start that YouTube kind of, the YouTube game as such?
Like many people, I was heavily influenced by Casey Neistat. So I'd finished a project I was working on, and I had a gap of like nothing going on, and I was hitting the gym every day, and the machines, like the running machines, treadmills, they have screens on them, and it's got YouTube, so I just randomly watch videos. And Casey Neistat's $21,000 airplane seat video came up. I was like, this guy's amazing, and I watched and I really liked the way he was just vlogging random stuff. I was like, oh, I'll do this in London. It'll be great. So I started off
UK scene version of that kind of thing.
Yeah, so I just started off my YouTube doing,
because it changed. That's one thing I've noticed is if you look at your older stuff, it's very closer. Yeah, we always have to have our heritage where we start, but it's to see the formula is very similar, and then you evolve into your own style with that, because it's obviously like the vlog thing as well. So it kind of started off like that, and then it changed.
I was just doing stuff in London twice a week, and then I bought my first board, and that video just blew up, and I was like, oh wow, I kind of fell in love with ESkate at that point, and my YouTube channel it took a different turn that day, and that's what led me on from vlogging to.
It goes really well into obviously the next one. Everyone wants to know the start of the journey, so let's talk about your first ever board, where we go. And it's good because it also gives you a chance to talk about the evolution of what we've done from where it all started.
Yep.
So what was your first board? Yeah,
I can't remember what it's called. Was it called I can't remember. It says Slick Revolution. I can't remember the name. It had one motor. It went like 7 miles an hour. It wouldn't even go up a slope, let alone a hill. It was dreadful, and I loved it.
Because that was the most incredible thing in the world, wasn't it? It's the most
this is Casey's fault again. I saw him on his boosted board and thought, I'll never be able to afford a boosted board. I looked around in England, found this cheapish board, like I'll give that a go.
Accessible board at the time, yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, that was it. I took it down to Eastbourne and I rode up and down the seafront.
You've got a lot of coastal stuff. It's very, very flat ground content, isn't it?
It's beautiful down there. It's so nice. It's a good place to ride.
Yeah. One thing I would say as well, talking about boards, about where you started, what would you say is the most underrated board at this time from where we're at the moment? So you see that board and you think this board gets maybe not enough attention or gets a hard time or a stigma, and you think actually this board is amazing, but by a cost or performance, or most underrated board at this time for you, or electric vehicle really? What's the most underrated thing you see right now?
I'd say it's probably not getting enough attention. I would say Luke at Streetwing.
Yeah.
You don't see enough of those boards out, and that is an amazing board. I know that's pricey, so it's probably not underrated, but it's definitely
it's not about the cost. I think it's the attention to shout out really from what boards really need a little bit more kind of attention really. I think that's mostly people forget that I think we've kind of already forgotten about the Paris event, when obviously that was the dominating force over there at the time really.
Yeah.
So I was looking on your, go on.
I was going to say, otherwise, I think this year we're going to see changes. I mean, I know I sat down with Lee last year at the Micromobility Winter Games with you, and we're saying, we're going to see this is going to be the mountain boards are going to take off, and then COVID hit. But I think this year we're going to see some street boards coming out, and I think we're going to see budget brands really pushing,
squeezing the other companies. Yeah,
definitely this year. That's what's going to happen. So I'll keep an eye on.
One thing I think as well with stuff like the X-Way Atlas coming out. Yeah. Because I did some content on that as well, and I was saying that it's the board that Evolve should have released, and it's given them the other companies the opportunity to catch up and get ahead. Really, that's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I really like. A lot of people say, these boards are out of copying and Evolve, and to some extent they are. Well, to some extent they are. At least
one thing I want to say on that, just before we continue, is that there's a bit of the argument you could say, Boosted's the only company that can have orange wheels.
Yeah, no. It's like, I'm not saying they're copying, but it's like a lot.
No, I know what you mean. It's people say the similarities and whatnot.
Definitely influence. They're definitely looking at what Evolve's doing and going, that's a good idea. Let's do our version. But to me, it's like it's also like Nvidia and AMD. Without one, you're never pushing the other one, and they're always pushing each other. So Evolve has to step up and make something else, and then someone's going to catch up. So a competition like this is good because it keeps forcing the innovation. It keeps encouraging performance upgrades, and for the consumer, that's brilliant.
Because a good thing about, like, say, well, going back on our question before about your first ever board,
Yeah,
you didn't have choice. You either had this or you had nothing. That was
yeah.
it. But now you, fortunately, I don't know about you, when we're talking to the community about what board should I get, tell me what you need, because that board is out there.
Oh, wow. I think, wow, what do I need? There's definitely a case for an off-road mountain board and a city street board. So off-roader, I would probably go, you're either going to go off-the-shelf tramper, or you're going to go custom build through someone like Lee at Apex Customs. And then street board, you've got so much choice. If you want budget, you can go Meepo. Even secondhand Meepo, you could spend a couple £100 and get something as a good starter.
Or
Right
like
up
backfire as well and that stuff. There's
backfire again. Yeah,
some
all
good
those
boards for that at First
brands.
Motors and that.
Yep. And now you're looking at, like you say, X-Way Atlas, X-Way Flex. What's the one they did with the battery built into the carbon beautifully?
Oh, the X-Way Riot, I think, or something. Riot, I believe that one. I was one of the guys in the Birmingham scene had that. Top speed is amazing. The range is good, and it's like if you can deal with a very hard board, but then you can look at the carbons of the whole board, but it's very flat. It's a really sleek design. But that's the benefit of like the community nowadays. Is like when we started, well, even more when you started, there was even less options. So we've come such a long way in such a short space of time. It's just exciting. So I was looking on your channel, on your stuff, and your most viewed video is of the Ruroc Shockwave. That's your most viewed video on your channel. So with that as well being said, how do you feel like because obviously you've been with Ruroc, you've not just made content, you actually have relationship with Ruroc before as well. How do you feel that relationship has worked with you in regards to you making content and also repping a brand at the same time?
The only contact I really have with with Ruroc is they didn't like my first review of the Shockwave.
Okay.
It was damning. And I thought there's a lot of problems, and I spoke to a guy there and we had several conversations, and they made some changes which was really good. So I took that video down and I put up the new Shockwave video.
So do you think that's kind of the power of kind of what you're doing? It's not necessarily as in I have the power to give positive or negative responses, but the impact of your content creating has improved the product standard.
Yeah, I mean that was unexpected, because I know now they've dropped the Shockwave and gone for shock pods, and they've improved it even more, which is great. But I mean, it was never my intention to kind of change the way they do things. I still think there's a lot of improvement they could be done at Ruroc, as I'm sure you're aware. You've waited for your helmet for 3 months.
That's the only thing. Like I said, I'm going to be totally unbiased, and I think always must remain unbiased. As a product, I'm happy with the product, but so many stories of people waiting for so long. And for me, I said this before, I said I don't mind waiting on a product if I know when to expect it. If you're saying to me it gets shipped next week and I have to wait a month, that's not a good experience. But if I order it knowing that, it changes everything. And I just think they need to have this update on their stocks versus their website information.
I don't have like a great relationship with Ruroc. I don't make content for them. I just make some stuff about them. I still would say they are, it seems to be an internal communication problem. So like you say, you're expecting something to come with your package. The last thing I bought from Ruroc, I was also expecting some extra stuff to come with it, and it never turned up. And you message their customer service and you get no response. And there's a lot of problems at Ruroc. So even if you like their gear and they make some good stuff, it's...
Yeah, I just think it's just a comms issue on that point. Anyway, let's go move on to a more positive element as well, because it's not just about create other stuff. So this is a work-based thing. So obviously with your YouTube and also doing your ESkate shop now and stuff like that, how do you find the balance between doing your shop, doing home life, and then also having a ride as well? How do you find that balance with everything?
It's not too bad at the moment because the shop's quite small, so it's not taking over my life too badly. I want to grow it so it does a lot more, but I mean I just do a few hours each day on the shop. I try and get out for a ride. shoot some content, do some editing, and then if I've got some space left, probably movies or video games. But it's not. There's still a healthy balance
right now. That's important.
It's manageable at the moment. Yeah.
I think that's one thing that I've had before is the dreaded YouTube burnout syndrome or admin burnout, and I think it's important that wherever you are and what you're doing, you need to bring it back to grassroots now and again and make sure that you're doing this because of what you enjoy doing. So one thing I want to say to you, I think this goes without saying. So just for people who don't know, I got into ESkate from partly because of Tim's content. That's really, if people don't know, I started off by watching Unbox Therapy on the Evolve when that was back out. It was the first thing I'd ever seen. And then the Casey Neistat stuff that everyone else saw at the start of this was that. And then it all came down to the AT option versus just street. I've had more options with the Evolve and got the Evolve. But I used to watch a lot of Tim's content and we used to go for rides because it took me a year to decide before I got a board, which was a wasted year. But it's really important to understand where you kind of start with. But I'm going to say for you, Tim, would you see? I think you kind of underrated a little bit, to be honest. And I think that, do you ever see yourself as kind of like an influencer, not as a kind of arrogant thing, but I do believe that you were part of the influence in the UK scene about where we started and where we continue to go. So, do you agree with people saying that kind of influence in the UK scene?
I don't see myself as an influencer. I don't really kind of like that term particularly much, but it's just, I just put out what I love and I share what I enjoy. And if you want to be a part of that, then that's great. Come and join us. I mean, that's like why we've got Carve. You know what it's like. It's just one big family. So it's just, I just see myself as putting out content of stuff that I love. And if you like it, you're welcome to join us. I'd like to expand what I cover on my channel so I can reach more people, do a lot more reviews of different stuff, but it's just what I enjoy.
I think that's one of the most important things, an emotional attachment with your content. It's like, I make this because I enjoy to do it. And just like with that as well, what would you say to your first, I understand you being humble and about understand that. Did you ever have that first YouTube celebrity moment as such, as in, oh, hello Tim, it's really a pleasure to meet you? What can you remember your first ever, oh my god, like, I'm just a skater, you know what I mean? I've just made content on YouTube.
Yeah, two that stand out. I was going home from a night ride in London. It was really late and I just got on the tube and I just sat there, had my Carbon GT at the time, and yeah, I was just half asleep. And I could feel this guy staring at me all the time. And I thought, oh, he's probably just checking the board out or something. And he's like, he comes over and sits next to me and he's like, I've seen you on YouTube. And it's like, oh, that was like really weird. He gets thank you. I don't know. I just had no idea how to respond to that. It was really strange.
Someone. Yeah.
And the other one was the first time someone came up to me and said, can I take a photograph with you? And I was like why?
Who am I? Yeah.
Yeah. That's bizarre. So
with that as well being said, you can also appreciate the impact you have on people with stuff you do as well. That's the thing. I think you need to realize the impact of what you have, not just from the consumer's point of view, but actually people look back on, we did this ride and you've created the kind of video on that and people go, how much that means to people, I think at times as well. We get someone else out riding. Yeah,
I don't know. I never really think about that side of stuff. It's just, I just like to make stuff and give it away. You know what I mean?
Just fun to be, so you can keep doing.
If I can create a ride and have like 30 people turn up and we just go mob London, then that's a great day out. Yeah, I love it.
Cool, fantastic. Okay, what else have I got here? Oh yeah, this is going to be interesting. What would you say to people who think of people who say YouTube is a way of just making money?
Seriously, I don't make any money off it. I don't even have adverts on my channel, so not in it for the money. I just in it for the joy of it. I have. I don't
know about you, but I seem to find that it costs more money. It costs me a lot of money to run it.
Like, how much do you spend on like camera gear and editing?
Well,
software?
I need to upgrade, but you know,
days out and
going to meet people somewhere. But it also
Yep,
pushes you to go do more, I think, as well. So it actually gets you a chance to connect with more people. But it costs so much to do this, and
it
I've
does.
yet to make anything from it at all
I
ever.
must give a shout out to Shred Lights here, who do give me some support. These guys are awesome. Um,
They're very
so for the
community
board,
focused, Red Lights, aren't they? They've done
Shred
so
Lights are
well.
amazing, and they paid for some of my board when I decked it out full of Shred Lights, the grip tape, and all the lights on it, and so they helped out with that. So I do benefit a little bit from stuff like that, but financially, no
You're not
chance.
getting anything back. Yeah, interesting. So I was looking through your content. Obviously, that's the most viewed video. What would you say is your favorite personal video on your channel for people to check out? As in, like, I really loved this event. I really enjoyed making it. Doesn't matter about the view count or the engagement, but actually, this is my favorite video on your channel.
I've got two favorites on there. One is Matt Global used to run Slide Sundays
Oh
in a
yeah,
car
yeah.
park, and
Oh
there
yeah, I
was
know it's fun.
a day when we had Aaron, Moja, Billy, and Matt Global, and I managed to film them all in one day and just cut a 2-minute video of them sliding around a car park. Brilliant fun, just a great day. And the other one is the Halloween. I think it's 2019, 2018.
That was the one before me, wasn't it? It was the year. I think there was because I think Kevin Dark showed me one that as well because Patrick was there as well. Was it that
He
one?
was at
He was
yeah, so
dressed
he
as a
was at
killer
the end. He
clown.
came out at night as the scary killer clown, and we just rode around London. I was a Grim Reaper, and there's a shot. I'm going up the mole from Buckingham Palace up towards central London, and a police car drives past, and the copper driving leans out the window and cheers at us, and it's like yeah, and
Just
it
good
was a
vibes,
brilliant
isn't
day,
it?
fantastic day that was. Yeah, so it's a 1.5 minute video, and it's one of my favourites.
That's the thing. It's like it's interesting the line between you put stuff out and you think this is going to get really good response, and
Yeah,
actually it doesn't, and it doesn't really even matter. It's like I actually had a great time putting this
yep.
together. Okay, okay. Obviously, Christmas time. If you could have one thing under your tree, whatever it be, what would be your Christmas present this year if you could have anything?
Wow, if you want to send Alex a message and tell him I'd love a super sport, um, this
Lacroix
year,
Super Sport. Would that be the
absolutely
one?
100%. Um, I just want to board for a range ride, and
You've got to
that's
be
it.
careful with that because if you like you say Lacroix Super Sport,
Yep,
like I joked about this when I had my Lone Star, which was, like the 24 dum like thing. There'd be like day one range test. There'd be like
yeah,
day two range test, and
yep.
I think that's the thing. Like you've been on your evolves for what 4+ years now at this point must be.
It's been quite a while. Yeah, yeah,
So like having something you get on and think I don't need to look at anything. I just keep going. Is
yep. Exactly
that's what
that.
that's all you want.
I'm used to stopping for dinner to charge up, and it gets a bit bored, waiting. And I just want a board where I can just ride it until I want to stop,
I've had it.
not the
Yeah,
board wants to
exactly.
stop. So yeah, that's my wish list.
Okay, cool. Right, so I'm gonna do one more, and then we're gonna wrap up things. So,
Okay.
talking about future of boards and stuff like that, what would you hope the plans to be for 2021? Not just for the community, but where would you want to be for 2021?
For me personally,
Mm.
wow. I think if the world gets back to normal, I want to run a lot more group rides and some events. Like I'd like to see Carve being able to host events again. I'd like to see more brands supporting the skate scene.
The more
Because
engagement, because I just think it's evolved. I
yeah,
honestly, hands up, I feel like Evolve is the only company out there for dedicated community events. They've done more than any other brand out there. Full stop.
yep, absolutely. I mean that's the UK team putting on some good events there as well over the last few years. But I'd like to see a lot more brands with a lot more engagement with their not
The
just with the
customers, yeah, with
with
their
the
own customers.
customers putting on events for them, and maybe I'd like to see some brands coming on board supporting people or groups to enable them to do things. So like brands could work with Carve to help fund an event, or brands could really just get involved in the scene through certain people or certain groups. That would be great. I'd like to see, let's see what happens to the scooter trials, but I'd like to see, e-skate as a mode of transport, an actual recognised legal mode of transport.
The ultimate dream, be like as in to ride without any
fantastic
concern.
Yeah. And then I'd like to see some brands just bringing something out that's amazing and budget friendly.
Next year is going to be I think budget friendly. I think it's a tricky one. I think that's going to be interesting because people are hungry for the next thing, and I think something like the X-Way Atlas, once we see how much that is, that's going to be an interesting point, because that's going to be a more powerful board from what they make. It could be a competitive board, and depending on how they price it, it's depending on where that's going to go, because I think budget friendly boards, it's all going to go like all the tiers going down. And like example, we've done this the other day. I think we did this, both of us went to the Evolve and looked for a friend for a second-hand GT, £800 or something. So price points are going out there. Okay, Tim, so is there anything you want to ask or shout out for before we finish, or anything like that? Anything you want to announce what you're going up to, or anything you want to ask me at all?
If you're on the fence about ESkate and you haven't bought your board yet, join Carve. You'll instantly have 2,000 new friends, and you'll get a lot of help. Buy a board, join us, come out for a ride, do a test somewhere. But yeah, just skate.
Okay, cool. So I'll say thank you very much, Tim, for taking part in this. It's something a little bit different. It's good to start to know a bit more about each other and have just a little bit of downtime. So thank you very much, and we're going to hold it there.
All right, cheers, dude. Take care.
Cheers, mate. Bye.